Good people, what's going on? Welcome to episode number 8, the Dome Podcast, man. Look, as I do each episode so far, I want to thank you guys, man. We knew at this as far as like the solo the Dome podcast, but hey, man, we're having a good time so far. Check me out on Tony the Dome on Twitter and the website enterthedome.com, where obviously there's a lot of articles and things of that nature that's been in place since 2017, man. So we're having fun, man. So look, let's talk about the streets. Let's go to the hardcore hip hop. You know what I'm saying? Like we talking about the LOX today versus Griselda. Discography, MCs, impact, influence, and all of those good things. But of course, we have to start with the LOX in the 90s. The LOX came along. I think they were actually signed in late 95, early 96 to Bad Boy. But of course, they didn't release their debut album for about 2 years. But they were on features. They was on a lot of songs, of course, on with other Bad Boy artists, with Biggie, of course, with Puff, with Mace, and things like that. So they were getting their feet wet, but they were hardcore, man. You know what I'm saying? They used to be called the Warlocks in Yonkers, and of course Puff wasn't feeling that and said, "Look, y'all gonna be the LOX, man." You know what I'm saying? So they came along strong, man. They played their position. You know, you saw them Last Days, on Life After Death. Then you saw them on a lot of other joints, man. You're like, you know what, these guys are good, man. You know, and unfortunately, when Big passed, they dropped their debut, and they had "We Always Love Big Papa," and you could just tell that something was special about the LOX. I don't know if we knew how special, but we knew something was going on here. We know Puff obviously had found a gem in this trio. You know what I'm saying? And during this time, of course, after Pac and Big passed away, there was a little period where, Puff, Mace, and maybe to a degree, commercialization of hip hop kind of hit a little bit with a lot of samples from the 80s songs and radio and club joints and things of that nature. But even though the LOX were on some of those songs and they were they did have, if you think of Jiggy, they was hard, man. You know what I'm saying? So they continued that hard early and mid 90s New York East Coast rap. They kind of reminded you of, Boot Camp Click with Buckshot and Smith and Wesson and Helter Skelter and and a lot of other guys at that time who had the streaks. You know what I'm saying? So, in the fashion of Enter the Stage and the Shine and the stuff like that, they end up dropping their music. Now it came with some controversy, and we'll get into some of that as well. But the LOX are hardcore, and they wanted to keep it hardcore, and they managed to, even when they broke away from Puff, they found their sound even more, and ended up having a illustrious career. And contrary to popular belief, the LOX got a lot of work because people are looking at the group albums, but no, you gotta look at the group albums. You gotta look at all the solo work, all the mixtape work, and then we had this long period. I think certain people after 50 Cent's reign on the East Coast, I think certain people yearn for that 90s style again. And in comes Griselda a few years ago after grinding for quite a few years. You know what I'm saying? So, in the spirit of competition, I wanted to kind of put their discographies up against each other and the MCs up against each other because I think it's very interesting because a lot of people consider Griselda movement kind of like a new version of the LOX to a degree. You know what I'm saying? With the hard, rugged style, the hard beats, and things of that nature. Now, don't get me wrong. You could probably look at the LOX more like a 90s group on the street side and Griselda on the streets, but the dope boy side as well. We talked about dope boy and hip hop on another episode. So you kind of might look at Griselda kind of where the clips came out. You know what I'm saying? But obviously the clips don't have the same amount of work as the LOX will have. So three MCs on three MCs. You know what I'm saying? And we'll get into how you guys look at the comparisons because again, there's always been a place for the streets but Griselda gave you that feeling again, like it was the early to mid '90s. Obviously, with Benny having a song called '97 Hove, they're influenced by all of the greats of the '90s, and I'm sure there's influence from the LOX to Griselda as well. But let's talk about impact as we look through the discographies. And I think you guys will be pretty shocked by the amount of work both of these entities have. So I'm gonna change this screen a little bit and see can you guys see we're going to start from the beginning. And let's kind of do it. I don't want to say in a versus type of form, but to a degree, let's kind of match up the albums and even some of the songs and some of the MCs, and let's see where this goes right here. So I'm looking at the LOX discography. First, as a group, you see Money, Power, Respect up there from 1998, the debut album. A lot of people thought that it left a lot to be desired, but I actually thought it was a very dope album. I think I was a senior in college. I looked past that If You Think I'm Jiggy, and I looked at all of the other songs on there. Of course, Squeeze the Juice, that Jadakiss, people still love that song. Each one of them has solo songs on there. Of course, We Always Little Big Papa is on there, but man, there's some hard songs on the LOX debut album. I love the album. I thought it was a perfect balance. I get why Puff had one or two songs on there in the spirit of sampling, 80s joints to try to get these guys on the radio. You know what I'm saying? But Money, Power, Respect is a hard track too, the title track. You know what I'm saying? The track number 1 on there is crazy. So I think each person represented themselves and the group on that album, man. I really thought it was dope. So let's look at this. Now, it's kind of unfair in terms of Griselda discography as group album versus the LOX. But just for the sake of conversation, you'll look at the LOX have Money, Power, Respect 1988. They have We Are the Streets in 2000. And of course, that's we want to get away from Bad Boy. We off that with Puff, what I'm saying, strictly Rough Riders, you know what I'm saying? So that's what they did. I thought We Are the Streets. Some people loved the album. I mean, I thought it was hard, but I actually like Money, Power, Respect better. You know what I'm saying? But We Are the Streets is hard. They did their thing on there. I love Recognized by Primo. There's a lot of Swiss beats on there. I do like Swiss beats, but don't really want to hear Swiss beats do an entire album almost. But it was a dope album. Then you got 2016, Filthy America. It's beautiful. Another dope album from the LOX. You know what I'm saying? And then you had their 4th album, Living Off Experience, in 2020, and it actually has Westside and Benny on that album, which is ironic enough. So if you look at those 4 albums, and then you kind of match those up with the Griselda's 2016 EP, is Don't Get Scared Now. You know what I'm saying? Good album, kind of getting their feet wet. But of course, WWCD 2019 is the one. Very dope album. It might be better than Filthy America. Might be better than Living Off Experience. Maybe. I don't know. But WWCW to me is not better than Money, Power, Respect or We Are the Streets, personally. So if you look at their group effort, I mean, it's unfair. It's 4 against 2, so pretty much no way you put it. The Griselda's going to have an edge on that. LOX just have too much music in terms of their group songs versus Griselda in terms of just saying, okay, it's a group album. You just really can't. You can compare it, but not really. Now, some people might think WWCD is better than all the LOX albums. I would say those are very big Griselda fans. So why don't we do this then? 3 MCs on one end with the LOX crew, 3 MCs with Griselda crew. Let's start with kind of who people think would be the leader of each group. You know what I'm saying? Let's kind of talk about their discography and see how they match up. So what I have, if you can see this up here, is Jadakiss versus Conway. Now I'm gonna list this and post this on Twitter at some point in about a week or so. After a few people see the show, I don't want to ruin the show by posting too much on Twitter before people get a chance to actually listen to the show. So let's go there. Now what I did was I pretty much took 5 or 6 of their albums. You know what I'm saying? We'll match those up because both of these guys have a huge amount of mixtapes. Same for everyone on this list. But Jadakiss and Conway have a lot of mixtapes. You know, Jadakiss have the Champions here series, all kind of mixtapes. And then of course, Conway probably has over 15 mixtapes also. So let's look at some of the more major albums. And look, I also consider certain albums that became very popular for any of these artists. And if it has all original music, then it's a damn album. Okay, that's just kind of what I'm doing. So anyway, Kiss the Game Goodbye 2001. We finally got a chance. We were waiting for Jadakiss to have a solo album, and it came. For some people, it was a very dope. For some people, they felt like they left a little bit to be desired. I expected a classic right there at that moment because I just felt like he is such an ill MC. But it is a solid album. 3.5 mics, 4 mics, maybe. You know what I'm saying? I might leave it at 4 mics. Okay, 2001. Now let's match that up against Conway from King to a God 2020. Ooh, that's a tough one right there. I personally think Conway's From a King to a God that came out in 2010 20 is better than Kiss the Game Goodbye. I really do. Now, Kiss of Death, sophomore album from Jadakiss, 2004. I'll put that up against God. Don't make no mistakes. Don't make mistakes, rather, 2022 this year. Conway did a dope thing with this album, man. It's a very dope album. I felt like he was probably more open with his life, more honest in this album. Yeah, it's gonna have some gunplay, some dope talk, and some hustling talk, but I felt like he opened up more on this album. But I do feel like Jadakiss Kiss of Death was just a little bit more well rounded, and it was a little better. Both did phenomenal MCing, so that goes without saying. Now if you look at Jadakiss, The Last Kiss in 2009, very dope album, man. I actually probably listen to Last Kiss more than I listen to Kiss the Game Goodbye. You know what I'm saying? I don't know if I listen to it more than Kiss of Death, but The Last Kiss, man, has some joints on that album, man. Go back and look at the track listing. You know what I'm saying? That joint with that Luther Vandross, I think, sample. Ooh. And then I would say for Conway, and I'm going backwards with him, just kind of where I had it set up. He had Organized Grime with Trillmatic in 2019. I mean, The Last Kiss is gonna beat that. Now, Top 5 Dead Alive 2015 versus Lulu with Alchemist 2020. Ooh, what do you guys think about that one, man? I think I might give that one to Conway. You know what I'm saying? With that joint he did with the Alchemist, man. Uh Collaborative album, Friday on Elm Street with Fabulous versus No One Mourns the Wicked with Big Ghost 2020. I'll probably give that one to Jadakiss and Fab. You know what I'm saying? Now we have Ignatius versus If It Bleeds, It Can Be Killed. I think that's close also. But Ignatius might be one of Jadakiss' better albums over the last few years in his discography. You know what I'm saying? So I might give that to Jadakiss. So I'm looking at, man, I think Jadakiss edges out Conway with the albums and EPs. I think what makes it close though is even though Kiss has a lot of dope mixtapes, some of Conway mixtapes feel like albums. You know what I'm saying? So they're almost even to me in overall discography because of that. But before the diversity in the songs, I would give Jadakiss a slight edge over Conway in overall discography. What do you guys think? Again, we're looking at albums, EPs, mixtapes, and we're also looking at any kind of collaborative efforts as well. And I think that Conway has it on the collaborative side, but I think that Jadakiss overall might edge him out with the diversity in the songs, and he ended up having more commercial hits. I think Jadakiss showed everyone who kind of slept on his discography doing their verses, two verses. I mean, you saw what he did with Fabulous, who Fabulous has a lot of hits. But Jadakiss, man, he sung Fabulous, and then you saw what he did in sunning the Dipset. But it goes to Kiss discography is actually underrated. Now I did start a conversation on Twitter saying, yo, his albums do leave a little something to be desired. I still believe that, only because I feel like someone of his caliber should have 2 or 3 classic albums right now, or at least 2 classics. Now, certain people on Twitter said that Kiss of Death was a classic. At the most, I can give it 4.5 mics, but it's probably sitting at a 4 to me. I still feel like Jadakiss has 3 or 4 4 mic albums. You know what I'm saying? That Conway from a King to a God to me is a 4.5 mic album. You know what I'm saying? God don't make no mistakes, so God don't make mistakes. Is 4 mics to me, and the rest of his projects no less than 3.5, 4 to me. But that from a King to a God is crazy to me. I love that album. You know what I'm saying? And that album is close to being better than any Jadakiss album outside of maybe Kiss of Death because of the diversity on the album. It's just probably a more well-rounded album. You know, with the features, with the club joints, with the street joints, you probably get a little bit more from Kiss of Death, man. What do you guys think about that? So yeah, I think I'll give Jadakiss a slight edge overall, but let's keep it moving, man. Excuse me 1 second. Okay, so how are we looking now with Styles P versus Benny the Butcher? Let's see if I can get you guys make this a little bit. Okay, so you don't need to see me right now. I guess it's okay to not see me just for a quick minute, making sure you guys can see this. Now, this is a very interesting one because I actually feel like Styles' work is impeccable. Styles' work is so deep, you know what I'm saying, from his albums to his mixtapes, man. It is a very deep and dense discography, man. Now, at the same time, Benny the Butcher has so much work because even though he has a few albums, he has over 20 mixtapes, man. You know what I'm saying? And again, some of them with original music, I kind of consider that like albums. So if you, as you can see right here, Griselda, it feel like they're new around the block, but they're not new. I mean, yeah, they broke free around 2015, 2016, which is quite a few years ago now, with the amount of work they did. Because I put on Twitter one time, is Griselda putting out too much music? Well, I guess not. If you into their style, they give you what you want every time. So let's look at this. Again, we had to break this down into 5 or 6 albums and EPs and things like that before getting into the mixtapes. A Gangster and a Gentleman, 2002. Styles P versus Tana Talk 3, 2018. Look, man, this is tough. I mean, you know, it's the teacher and the pupil almost. You know what I'm saying? As far as like this is Luke Skywalker fighting Darth Vader, man. This is tough. I'm gonna go with A Gangster and a Gentleman. I feel like that album is probably 4.5 mics. You know what I'm saying? And one of the best projects out of the LOX discography as a whole entire group an entity. Tennis Talk 3, 4 mics, possibly 4.2.5. You know what I'm saying? I got to give it a little bit less than Gangsta and the Gentleman because Gangsta and the Gentleman to me is a little bit better. But Bennett definitely came through with that project, man. Like he has shown that after his mixtapes, you know what I'm saying? He really came through with some strong efforts, man. You know what I'm saying? Thomas Money 2006 for Styles P versus Burden of Proof. 2020 with Benny the Butcher. What do you guys think? This is tough for me. I don't want to show favoritism to my era because again, I almost had Conway and Jadakiss even, so I'm not trying to front on Griselda. I love Griselda. Contrary to popular belief, off one tweet, people think I don't like Griselda. I love Griselda's work. You know what I'm saying? I was dissing some of the fans a little bit, but I love Griselda. I gave them flowers. I have a post showing how much I rock with them. You know what I'm saying? But I'm going with Time is Money. I'm going with Time is Money. Now, Super Gangster Extraordinary Gentleman in 2007. As you see, Styles P is very consistent. He went from 2002, 2006, 2007. I mean, he was definitely working. But I'm going to give that to Tana Talk 4, Benny the Butcher. Came out this year. I'm going to give that to him. Now, this is where it gets tricky at with Styles P and Benny the Butcher because Styles P has more albums. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, I have right here now that Masters of Ceremony came out in 2011. But I guess I would have to put that against some extended plays from Benny the Butcher. That 17 Bullets in 2018. No, it's 2016, rather. Excuse me. And Tommy DeVito's Breakfast with Cons 2017. Um, so 17 Bullets. I'm sorry, 2016. If I misspoke. And Tommy DeVito's Breakfast is 2017. Uh, I would give, and if I'm going to use two Styles P albums, Master of Ceremonies 2011 and The World's Hardest MC 2012. Man, I'm giving those to Styles P. Man, I'm giving those to Styles P. Now, of course, Styles also have the projects with Havoc. He has the project with Dave East. He has the project with Tyler Kweli. And he has about 10, 15 mixtapes or more. Benny the Butcher has, the Plugs I Met, the Plugs I Met 2, Pyrex Picasso, and 18 to 20 mixtapes, if I'm not mistaken. So now we're really talking about a lot of work from both of those guys. I think it would depend on who you feel more. I think Styles P has some passion in some of his songs as an overall artist. He make you feel him on some joints. Benny can just spit. He a spitter. He's dope at it. It's kind of like Pusha T. They can rap. They're not gonna really bring you into their personal world, but so much outside of the dope rhymes. You know what I'm saying? And the street life. That's what they're gonna do for the most part. Styles P is gonna give you some joints like I'm Black, some joints about his family, some joints about his brother. You know what I'm saying? He just brings you more into his life. So I would say that Styles P is a more dynamic MC than Benny the Butcher. But if you wanna, some people might pick Benny's discography over Styles P. I don't. Again, we still talking about if I listed all of Styles P's music, it's just way too much. So I mean, now don't get me wrong, quantity doesn't always be quality. But the thing about Styles P is he has a lot of quality. You know what I'm saying? He probably has one of the more underrated discographies in hip hop history. We're talking about Skyzoo today on Twitter, how his discography is just amazing, you know what I'm saying, and deep, and probably he probably doesn't have anything under four mics. Well, Styles P, he might have a few under four mics, but he has a whole lot over four mics, you know what I'm saying, or four mics, because he has so much work. He put so much time in, and again, a lot of quality, a lot of diversity. You feel him, you feel his pain, you feel his struggles in his life, a lot of things that he's proud of and not proud of. You kind of feel that in his music, as opposed to Benny. He's very, very, very dope. Let's get that out the way so no one will take this like a slight. It's just that you only get so much of his life to me. Conway opened up more on God Don't Make Mistakes. But to me, Benny still he's like the king of hustling rhymes right now until Pusha come out. But that's what you get out of him. Whose discography do you like the best between Styles P and Benny the Butcher? I pick Styles P, you know what I'm saying, for the reasons I listed already. But I'm not mad if anyone picks Benny the Butcher's discography over Styles P. Man, this is interesting. So far you got Jadakiss discography versus Conway. What do you guys think? Then we have Styles P discography versus Benny the Butcher. I'm edging the LOX right now. So now let's get to the part Sheik Luch and Westside Gun. First, let me say this. I like Sheik Luch better. Sheik Luch. Now we'll get to the discography and the music in a minute. Sheik Luch, for the reason of being with Jadakiss and Styles having classic diss songs versus 50 and the Rock and all that together, the Fiesta joint, the Miss Jackson, Shots Fired, smashing on 50 Cent and G Unit. They were so dope together. They dissed Siegel and Rockefeller together mostly. Sheik was on some of the joints. Then of course the classic Alchemist produced We Gonna Make It. Shout out to Razzcast because of course it was a Razzcast beat first, and they kind of yanked it from him, and I think Alchemist sold it to both of them, and Razzcast turned around and made a diss song against the Alchemist a long time ago. But anyway, that's a club and street banger, you know what I'm saying, and it's kids and style. So because of the success, people overlook Sheik Luch. And she can rap. Matter of fact, when the LOX did that song, the Benny Siegel song, "Feel It in the Air," they did their version. Sheik to me had the best verse. I mean, it was all of them was heartfelt, but Sheik killed it. But anyway, you know, West Side, you have to give him his props for being the founder of Griselda. He loves hip hop in terms of his hustle. And I say that because one thing about Griselda, man, they have a lot of work. West Side Gun has a lot of work. You know what I'm saying? So let's just look at both of these discographies real quick. Again, I had to exclude all of the mixtapes. Sheik Luch has 10 plus mixtapes, and I think I counted over 15 for West Side Gun. One thing about West Side Gun is the dude got an ear for beats, man. But okay, so Walk With Me, 2003, Sheik Luch debut album versus Fly God, 2016. What do you guys think? Man, this is tough. I'm gonna go with Fly God, man, with West Side Gun. Now listen, I like listening to Sheik Luch better because I like his voice, I like his flow. Sometimes West Side voice can be a little annoying to me personally. And like Guru, the late Guru said, it's mostly the voice. You know what I'm saying? It's hard to listen to something West Side Gun for me more than like 10 songs in a sitting. You know what I'm saying? It's not his fault. I think he's dope. I just don't want to hear it that long. Uh, After Taxes versus Supreme Blind Tail 2018. What do you guys think, man? I'm gonna go with After Taxes on that one with Sheik Luch, man. You know what I'm saying? Number 3, Silverback Gorilla 2008 versus Pray for Paris 2020. I'm gonna go with Pray for Paris, West Side Gun. Let's see, can you guys get a better look at this? I'm not sure how it shows up there with you guys, but let me just do this. Okay, maybe this is better for you guys. Sorry if I've kind of blinded you guys with this, but again, I'll release this in the comment section, you know, and then on Twitter in about a week. All right, man. Life on D Block 2009 versus Who Made the Sunshine 2020. Tough. What do you think about those two projects, you guys? I'm gonna go with Life on D Block, Sheik Luch. Donnie G, Don Gorilla 2010 versus Hitler's Dead 2018. I'm going with Hitler's Dead. Collabo with Ghostface, Wu Block 2012 is going to beat Fourth Rope 2019. But this is the thing. This is where it hurts. Now, a lot of the other projects and collabs by Westside Gun are pretty damn stellar. Westside Gun with Doom 2017. And then he has 5 other EPs. Silverback Gorilla 2015 was pretty good by Sheik Luch, but overall, Westside Gun is gonna take that over Sheik Luch. His music is just overall better to me, better produced. Westside Gun is like Rick Ross. They're ear for beats. They know what worked for them. You know what I'm saying? Westside probably can executive produce a lot of dope MCs albums if they let them. Same way I always said of Rick Ross executive produce some people albums, they'll be off the chain, man, because Rick Ross know how to put an album together. Westside Gun know how to put projects together. Now, some people will argue that Westside Gun discography is better than Conway's and Benny the Butcher's. Some will argue that. Now, I might say the way his albums are structured together, they could be better than both of Benny and Conway. The problem is Benny and Conway can rap better than him to me. They're easy to listen to. Both of their voices are doper. You know what I'm saying? So I can listen longer. I can ride a commute and listen to Tana talk. The plugs. It's hard to ride to a full Westside Gun album to me or project to me. But like I said, if I'll ride to several songs and it sounds dope. You know what I'm saying? And some of that boop 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 kind of get on my nerves a little bit. You know what I'm saying? But nevertheless, Westside is dope. So Who do you guys feel like has the best discography within uh Griselda? Who do you feel like has the best discography within the LOX? If we're looking at Jadakiss again versus Conway, for you, who's the who is the better MC overall? Jadakiss now is looked at. He's always been looked at as a great MC and a legend and everything. But over the last year and a half, because of these two verses, his stock man has risen tremendously, and you'll be hard pressed to probably find too many people that are list anyone from Griselda on an all time MC list over Jadakiss. Jadakiss is in some people's top 10. He's in some people's top 20. He's in some people's top 30, top 50. Now, I released the top 50 greatest MCs on IntoTheDome.com. Of course, Jadakiss is on that. He didn't make my top 25. I did a show about the top 25 greatest MCs of all time. Kiss is right outside of that. But again, some people might say I'm crazy for that. But that's where I had him at. That doesn't mean uh, other people don't. You know, man, that's just kind of what it is. When you think about the greatest MCs, I mean, you probably can list 50 easily, interchange everyone probably when you get around 20 to 50, you probably can interchange a lot of them. You know, some of the top 10, 15, it's hard to move them around. Maybe you can move them around some, but a few got some pretty solid spots. Conway, where is he right now in hip hop? Well, he's probably one of the dopest 5 or 6 MCs in the game right now. You know what I'm saying? We're talking about someone who kind of been around for the last 5 or 6 years. Conway is probably one of the best MCs right now the last 5 or 6 years. He might end up being one of the best MCs of this era. And then you start that rank thing. People want to rank people too early. These guys, they're hot, but Griselda, they've been around for 5, 6, 7 years overall, even though some of those years are underground. You know what I'm saying? So I can't put these guys on the list yet. You got to keep on going. You know what I'm saying? Give me 10 years, man. You know, people start ranking people before they've been in the game 10 years. You know what I'm saying? Then they'll say, well, Biggie wasn't in 10 years, or Pac was in like 7. Yeah, but we're really doing that? Let's not do that. Let's not do that. You know what I'm saying? So anyway, Jadakiss discography, again, just kind of coming full circle. I feel like Edge's Conway's a little bit. I can't wait to hear people's thoughts on that. Some might say, look, man, Kanye got better albums than Jadakiss. Somebody and albums, meaning albums, EPs, mixtapes, whatever. That some people might think that his list of projects are better than Kiss. I just think that Kiss edges him a little bit because of diversity. Styles P is an MC versus Bennett, like I said before. Even though Bennett, like Conway, is one of the best MCs of the last 5, 6 years, put some of the best music out in hip hop in the last 5 or 6 years. I feel like Styles P's discography is superior. I feel like Styles P is a better overall MC than Benny the Butcher. That's not a slight. That's not a diss. Benny's dope. I just think Styles P is doper. I like Sheek Louch better than Westside, but Westside Gunn got a better discography than Sheek Louch. Now, how would Westside Gunn discography hold up against Styles P? How would it hold up against Jadakiss? Production-wise, he might have both of them beat. The way his projects are structured and the way the beats are, he could have everyone on this list beat, his crew and the LOX. But he's just not the MC that Kiss and Styles are. So to me, they make better overall music. I'm not saying they have better projects. Well, I guess I am kind of saying that too. I mean, if I took the 5 best projects from Styles P versus the 5 best projects of Westside Gunn, for example, that's tough. I would end up, again, because of the MC side and the writer side of me, I'm a writer. I would probably give it to Styles P. I know his life more. I feel him a little bit more. And feeling matters in hip hop. That's why the LOX will probably have an edge overall against Griselda, because of the diversity in their music, and you feel them in some of their songs. I don't know if I feel Griselda in terms of the passion of life, in terms of what they giving me about their life and their family. And somebody might say, "Hey, I listen to more than you, and I feel them because I hear the songs and some of the lines, some of the verses where they go in there in regard to their personal lives and just giving you a piece of themselves." I just have, maybe it's something I'm sleeping on, because for me, I just like their music. I think they make dope music, dope hip hop. But I think that the LOX for me just touch a few more avenues that Griselda does not touch. Now, with that still being said, Griselda's running hip hop from the streets right now. Let me be very clear about that now. Griselda is definitely running the streets. There's you know, it's gonna be a while. They're on a legendary run right now. Like I said, from 2017 and now, all three of them together, they have over 50 projects. I mean, that's incredible, man. Yes, some of them might be seem a little redundant because they have so much music. But if you're a fan of that style of music, then they're giving you what you want. It's like Rick Ross. Rick Ross might have, 12 albums. Some of them they have a certain way the tracks are set up. They have a certain formula. Griselda has a formula. The LOX have a formula. Most groups and MCs have a formula. Now you do have some people gonna step way left field somewhere. You have a Kanye West, Outkast, even Nas. He'll do the distant relatives with Damian Marley. So certain people will do that stuff. But most people have a formula. Either R&B, jazz, country, gospel, rock, whatever. Most people have you know what they expect from some of your favorite artists. You know what I'm saying? So we can't diss hip hop and be like, ah, man, they stuff sound the same. And I've done it before and it wasn't right as well to artists. You know, we know most artists, again, they do what works for them. But in hip hop, we could be very critical. I've been critical before. We all been critical, especially if you've been around a long time and heard a lot of music. You know what I'm saying? I'll be 47 this year. So yeah, I've heard a lot of music. So yeah, I'm kind of critical with because I used to say, man, Kiss, I kind of know what kind of bars I'm gonna get. But I had to give him the benefit of the doubt. He made songs like Why. You know what I'm saying? That kind of made you look at him a little different, like he's opening up as an artist. Do you get that from Conway, Benny, and Westside Gun? What songs do you listen to from Griselda that you really feel like that? You know what I'm saying? If you do, man, put that in the comment section also, man. Put me on. Of course I have pretty much, most of that music. But like I said, you can always miss some gems here and there. You can miss something because there's so much music out there and they have so much music. The LOX have so much music. You know what I'm saying? Do you look at Griselda uh on the same level as the LOX in comparison to how the LOX were during their reign? Is Griselda the same? I mean, commercially they're not because obviously the LOX was on Benjamins and stuff like that. So the LOX showed during the last, throughout the Dipset verses, but especially at the end with the R&B tracks, the tracks for the women, the tracks for the clubs, the features that they have with Mariah Carey and so many other people who people slept on. The LOX have a lot of work. They're not just, it's not just some boom bap or some hardcore dope dealing rhyme. They have a lot of stuff. Griselda, even though they're pretty famous to hip hop heads now and pretty popular in the industry of hip hop and respected by other MCs and things like that, they're still kind of underground. Like Griselda's kind of like a popular version of like Boot Camp Click or something. I mean, they're popular but not famous. You know what I'm saying? Like famous within hip hop. You know what I'm saying? I think they have been on some late night shows now and stuff like that. You know what I mean? But that was really still for the hip hop heads because I mean, those kind of crowds probably don't know who they are now. You know what I'm saying? But they found a way to stick around for 6-7 years, still making consistent music. That's why I thought this would be cool to talk about Griselda against the LOX. You know what I'm saying? Because I feel like people view them kind of the same, which didn't surprise me when Benny and Westside was on Living Off Experience album with the LOX. You know what I'm saying? That didn't surprise me. You know what I'm saying? So now, how would you rank all six of them? I think that's kind of interesting. Like, when you got Jadakiss, Styles, Sheik, Conway, Benny, and Westside. I probably will have Jadakiss, Styles 1 and 2, and then you can debate the rest of them. Jadakiss and Styles. Then I might say Jadakiss, Styles, Conway, Benny, Sheik, and West Side. Let me think about that. I might say Jadakiss, Styles, Conway, and Benny kind of interchangeable for me, but I'll say Conway, Benny, Sheik, and then West Side. I'll probably say that's the way I would probably rank them. Um, it's kind of tough because some days I have Styles over Jadakiss. Now, not pure spitting. Jadakiss is gonna control the mic, gonna control the show, stuff like that. But if you look at discographies, Styles P discography is the best on this whole list to me. How about that? I don't know if I said that earlier, but let's just say that Styles P has the overall best discography to me out of all six. And with that dope discography, sometimes I have him over Jadakiss. But for the sake of conversation, I'll give Jadakiss an edge just on the MCing part, not the artist. Styles P is a better artist than Jadakiss, and Jadakiss is a better MC than Styles, if that makes sense to you. So yeah, that's the way I have that, man. I think it's very interesting. I have the LOX in a slight edge. Some people might have Griselda. I think this is cool to discuss. I think this is just something. Just I want to do something different, man, with this episode. You know what I'm saying? Try to come from a different angle. I don't recall seeing anyone talking about the LOX versus Griselda in a podcast type of fashion. Or maybe I missed it. Maybe somebody did. I didn't see it, which is fine. Uh, but yeah, man, very interesting to look at this discography and look. If we look at overall, there's over 100 projects. I think I was counting them the other day because of the mixtapes and collabs. I think that there's either 100 or close to 100 total projects between the LOX and Griselda. So for anyone who thought, oh man, the LOX don't have a lot of music, yes they do. But I think what happens is if you look at We Are the Streets came out in 2000 rather, and then Filthy America came out in 2016. You had 16 years between two LOX albums. So that will make some people think, well, the LOX don't have a lot of work. Well, look, in between that time, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, they released like 30 projects, 30 or 40 projects between the three of them from 2000 to 2016 between the two LOX albums. So they was working. And Griselda, even though they caught on a few years ago, they had grounded on the ground for years. And they released a lot of music. So that's why, in essence, I guess I do have to say, I might have to retract what I said earlier about having 10 years in before you can rank them. Maybe I'm wrong in that, people. What do you think? Maybe I'm wrong because Conway and Bennett both have enough work if you look at their overall projects to rank them. I was wrong. I stand corrected. Maybe Conway or Benny made it to some people's top 20, top 25. They didn't personally make my list, but maybe if I redid my list again and really analyze and assess their catalogs, maybe one of them slide in the top 30. And I know people say, "Oh, man, that's a diss, man." Then Conway and Ben out of your top 30. Dude, go to intothedome.com and look at my top 50 MCs list and look at my top 25 MCs. And let me know if you think Benny or Conway should rank higher than the ones I have in my top 25. If you do, that's cool. But let me know. Intothedome.com. Check that out. Top of the dome page. You can see my top 25 MCs and my top 50 MCs, of course. You know what I'm saying? And you can also see my top my favorite 25 rap groups. There's no listing for that. At some point I'm gonna do a show on all of the rap groups, my favorite. I'll rank them, I'll do all of that stuff. But you can actually look at my favorites on that list. At some point Griselda will make that list. You know what I'm saying? But that list was put up several years ago in 2017. I just didn't move it because those I still have my same favorite groups that I listed back then. Tribe and Outkast them don't move. You know what I'm saying? They just not. Camp Low don't move. EPMD don't move. De La Soul they don't move. You know what I'm saying? But that's another story for a whole nother day, man. But Griselda has made their mark in hip hop. They are the standard right now for hardcore East Coast hip hop. They are consistent. They do their thing. They put their crew on. Much respect to Griselda. Of course, my era and my age, of course, it resonates with the LOX. You know what I'm saying? Big up to the LOX, man. I'm a big fan forever. You know what I'm saying? Big up to hip hop, my people. Thank you for checking out episode 8. Griselda discography versus the LOX discography, and just talking about these two stellar entities. God bless you. One love. Peace from NC. Peace.